was just, I guess I fell asleep. I was just dreaming about how are we going to make sure that we have all of our factoring reviewed before we talk about rational expressions and simplifying. So then I thought, okay, we have to review some of this. Okay, so I guess let's just go back to the basics. All right, so let's, what's the very first thing you need to do when you're factoring any expression?
GCF?
That's correct. Okay, so if you look at this, is there a GCF?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you're correct. Okay, and so we're going to take out the number. Is there a letter that they also have in common?
X.
I believe there is. Okay, so then we're going to go 3x times something equals 3x squared. And that something happens to be x. Okay, and then 3x times what is 6x?
Dos.
Correct. Okay, so this was the very first thing that we learned about factoring. Okay, and we're just going to make sure that before we start chapter 11, which is simplifying rational expressions, we have to make sure that we have reviewed factoring. So I'm feeling a little bit better already. Well, I just thought of another one. Okay, now when you have 3 terms, and there's not a GCF because there's not a GCF here, you can look to see if you can unfoil. Okay, and so I've got these 3 terms here. There's not a, the problem's over here.
Oh.
There's not a number in front of the x squared, so we're kind of lucky. But remember, you want to look at what 2 numbers multiply to be 12 that also add up to be 7. And remember, you don't have to use this, but those 2 numbers happen to be 3 and 4. And so then you just make your nice little 2 sets of parentheses. And remember, the 2 first have to multiply to be x squared. The 2 lasts multiply to be the last one. And so we get our 3 and our 4. Boom, we're done. And that's it. Remember how easy that was?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Woo! All right. That was a nice little ride. I thought of another one. This one is a difference of squares. This did say 25 before I went on the train. Okay, so x squared minus 25, difference of squares. Okay, and remember, when we are factoring this, it's just kind of like unfolding because we're going to have 2 sets of parentheses. Okay, and remember, when there's not a term in the middle with the x's, that just means that the outsides and the insides, they're canceling each other out. So all you have to do is take the 2 first, they're going to multiply to be x squared, so x times x. And then, what 2 numbers multiply to be 25? Yep, 5, 5 plus minus, done. But just to make sure you remember why, the insides are going to give you 5x, and the outsides are going to give you negative 5x. So they just cancel each other out. And our x times x gives us x squared. Our 5 times negative 5 gives us the minus 25. Okay, so that's why that one worked. Does that ring a bell? Hi guys, I just thought of another one that we need to review. Okay, and so this one, it's a trinomial, but there is a number in front of the x squared this time. So this one, we either get to do the illegal move, or we can guess and check. Okay, so I'll show you both ways just so that you can remember which way you liked better. Okay, so remember, always the 2 firsts will multiply to be that first term. Okay, and so this one's really nice because we've got 2x and x, that's the only possibility. But if you look at 12, remember 12, you could have 3 times 4, or you could have 4 times 3, or you could have 6 times 2, or 2 times 6, or 12 times 1, or 1 times 12. There's all those choices. Okay, so we need to decide which pair will work. And if you think about it, 12 is not going to work because if we have 12 here and 1 here, that's already above 11. So we know we're not going to use those. What do you think we're going to use? That's right. We're going to use 3 here and 4 here. Okay? Because if we FOIL this, and it's kind of, some of you learned that the more you practice, the easier it is to look ahead. But if you're going to look at your insides, we have 3x, and our outsides, we have 8x. And 3x plus 8x is 11x, so we know we did it right. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Okay, now I'm going to show you the illegal move, just to refresh your memory on that one as well. Okay, because some of you like to just have a rule that you always follow. I don't know, it's whatever you prefer. Okay, so for the illegal move, we're going to take the first and the last and multiply them together. Okay, and then remember this lovely little X that we did. We called it a diamond at first, but then we made it an X. Okay, 2 times 12 is 24, and then we have 11 on the bottom. The 2 numbers that multiply to be 24 that also add up to 11 are 3 and 8. Okay, so then I'm going to make my 2 sets of parentheses, and we've got x plus 3 and x plus 8. But then remember, we multiplied by this 2. Okay, and so what we need to do is we need to divide these numbers by 2 because otherwise it's still illegal. Since we can't divide 3 by 2, we're just going to put that 2 in front of that x. And then we're going to say 2x plus 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So we've got 2x plus 3 and x plus 4. And that's what we got the other time too. Okay, so you can use either one of those methods. Woo! It doesn't matter which one of those methods you use. Okay, so whatever is easiest for you, you guys go ahead and use. All right? All right, so now we can start the new stuff. Yes. I'm so excited to start the new chapter! Woo! All right, so, whew. Okay. All right, so here's the new stuff. Except number 1, this isn't new stuff, but I just want to show you this one to help you kind of remember what we're going to do. We get to cross stuff out in this chapter. Doesn't that sound fun? All right, so if you look at this first one, this is actually from chapter 7, if you remember. We're going to look at 4 and 12, and we're going to simplify that, okay? 4 and 12 have 4 in common, so we're going to take 4 divided by 4, and we get 1. We're going to take 12 divided by 4, and we get 3. All right? And then our x's can go to battle, so technically we're kind of crossing some of this stuff out. Okay, so our x's go to battle, the bottom's going to win, so we get x to the 3rd down here. The y's, the top's going to win, there are more on the top. Pardon my background noise. All right, so the y's, sorry for the interruption. For the y's, there are more on top, so they go to battle. There are 3 left on top. And then the z's, there are more on bottom, so they go on the bottom. Okay, so you can look at it like the going to battle, or you can cross stuff off. Like you can cross these 2 x's, and then you get 3 of them here. But we get to, this is the same kind of thing. Okay, so let's look at this problem number 2. Okay, we need to look at our factoring that we've been reviewing. Okay, and if you have 2 terms, first thing always that you should look for is a GCF. Okay, and this one has a GCF. Okay, here it's 2. Okay, 2 times what is 2x? We get x. And 2 times what is minus 8? That would be minus 4. Okay, and then this one is a trinomial. So we're going to have 2 sets of parentheses. Okay, we've got x squared, so we've got x and x. 2 numbers that multiply to be a negative, or multiply to be negative 8. that add up to be negative 2, that would be 4 and 2, and since the negative 2 would be minus 4 plus 2. And look at this, there's stuff we get to cross out. We get to cross out since x minus 4 is up here and down here, we get to cross that out. Woo! Those are gone. So our final answer is 2 over x plus 2. That is our final answer. Okay? Now we can never cross anything out if there is a plus or minus sign between terms. Okay? These we could cancel out because that's like a whole unit, x minus 4. We can cross out whole sets of parentheses, but we can't cross out if there's a plus or minus between one of them. All right? Any questions? Okay, well, I can't answer them now, but you can email me. All right, and then this one, if you look at the top, on the top, we have a difference of squares, okay? And we reviewed that one already, so I know you guys are good. So we've got x and x. The square root of 16 is 4. So we've got plus 4, minus 4. And on the bottom, we've got another 2 sets of parentheses. We've got x and x. And 2 numbers that multiply to be negative 4 that also add up to be negative 3. I heard it. I heard it somewhere. Oh, yep, that's it. Minus 4 and plus 1. And check this out, guys. We've got an x minus 4 and an x minus 4, so they cross out. You get x plus 4 over x plus 1. That's our final answer. Again, we can't cross out the 2 x's because that's part of, there's a plus sign between those. So this is our final answer. X plus 4 and over x plus 1. Okay, make sure that's in the screen. You can see all that. All right. Well, you guys are going to have some to try as well. And I'm sure you'll be just as excited as I am. Now I would like you to try some. Number 3 has a star by it because it's kind of a challenge. You can pause the video now. You can probably see now why it was important to review factoring before we started. If you look at number 1 on the top, it's a trinomial, and so we need 2 numbers that multiply to be 2 that add up to be negative 3, so it'd be x minus 2 and x minus 1. The bottom has a GCF of 3, so it's 3 times x minus 1. Then we get to cross out our x minus 1s, and your final answer is x minus 2 over 3. For number 2, on the top we have c squared minus c minus 6. And remember, if it's just minus c, that's the same as minus 1c. So we need 2 numbers that multiply to be negative 6 that also add up to negative 1. So that would be negative 3 and 2. So on the top we have c minus 3 and c plus 2. On the bottom we need 2 numbers that multiply to be 6 that add up to be 5. So that happens to be 2 and 3. So c minus 3 times c plus 2 over c plus 2 times c plus 3. So we can cross out our c plus 2's, and unfortunately that's all we can cross out because there's a plus sign and minus sign between the others. So it's c minus 3 and c plus 3 over c plus 3. Okay, that's our final answer. And then this last one, here's the challenge. Okay, so on the top we've got a GCF of 3, so it's 3 times z plus 1. On the bottom, we've got a GCF of 2, so it's 2 times z squared minus 1. So it looks like we could be done, but we're not, because on the bottom that's a difference of squares. So on the bottom I'm going to change that to z plus 1 and z minus 1, and we can cancel out our z plus 1's. So we get to cross out our z plus 1's, they're gone. On the top we have 3, and on the bottom we have a 2 and a z minus 1. Great job, guys! I can sleep so much better now knowing that we've reviewed all that.